What's up? Welcome in to the Hook and Batter podcast, episode 8. Episode 8 is what it is, and we are into the MLB playoffs, finally. A lot has happened since the last time we talked, which, things move quickly when you do a once-a-week podcast. So to catch everybody up, the Mariners missed the playoffs, even though their pitching staff is great. It's kind of sad. Did you guys see what their GM said yesterday by any chance?
Oh, no.
I did not.
No.
I feel pretty bad for Mariners fans, I'm not going to lie. He got on the mic, I guess doing an end-of-season type press conference, and was just like, we're out here to win 54% of our games, kind of no matter what. We're doing the fan base a favor by letting them be patient and, not forcing things. The Mariners have never been to a World Series. I think their fans would prefer if you just went all out. That's just me.
Yeah, that's a dumb thing to say. I think
It makes it sound like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
like you'd think like the alternative of like we want to win every game we play would be like just the cliche response
Right.
would be a 10 times better thing to say. That's bad. That's not good.
Like, I understand what he's saying. Like, we're built for long-term success. It's year to year is pretty like flexible. Like, things happen outside of your control, but like, I don't know. You made some trades that made it seem like you're kind of all in, but then this year you trade your closer mid-year, and it's like, I don't really know what they're doing, but they have like a core of guys, especially on the pitching side, that should be competing for titles, and now you missed out on the playoffs. It's not a good look to go out and say that right after missing the playoffs, but I guess it is what it is. Sorry they're at home. Both, or when the Orioles last played them and the Rangers played them on Sunday, both walked away being like, George Kirby has like the best stuff we've seen out of any pitcher. And for that not to be in the playoffs kind of sucks, but because, pitching can carry you quite a long way, but they couldn't cut it. Rangers go out, they lose the division on the last day. I was going to come on here ready to bash them after that because Saturday night they clinched the playoff spot and they started partying. Now, I know a lot of people were saying, it was just like a 15-minute thing. There were a lot of guys that kind of got dressed right after this, and like it was just a bad look to go out the next day, lose 1-0, lose the division. But earlier today, they beat the Rays 2-0 in this series. They're moving on. They're going to face the Orioles in the LDS, so I can't really say too much about them because they came up and showed out, and the Rays were a complete no-show.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing with the Rangers is that their star power is pretty immense, and that's the worry about them. And they really did just show out. They completely blanked the Rays, which was surprising. I don't know if it's more about the Rangers or the Rays, but either way, I'm not excited to see them.
Yeah. Do you think I wrote this down? But do you think the Rangers have the best lineup left in the American League?
I don't know, man. I think I really like and I don't think I'm a homer in saying this. I really like the Orioles lineup.
I know.
I love what the Orioles are throwing at.
We don't like the Orioles don't have a Seager. Like,
Yeah,
I understand that
yes.
Gunnar is obviously very good. Adley's very good.
Right.
But those guys, like, at least right now, Gunnar is obviously still so young. He's not like every at bat you're like, all right, sweet, here comes a base hit. Like, when Seager comes up, or at least in the series, I was like, okay, this is a double off the wall or something.
Yeah.
They intentionally walked him, I think, earlier
It was like
today.
the fourth inning.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have a player like that.
Yeah.
No,
They'll switch pitchers for our guys. They'll
Yeah,
do a lefty
absolutely.
matchup, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But not, I don't think intentional walking.
Yeah, with the Orioles, it feels like all season it's been the sum is greater, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
It's been the whole team playing cohesively.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. Even our we don't really have a guy to take the top off of their starting pitcher.
Yeah, and when guys like when Santander gets hot, like he's hitting 3 home runs in 5 games. So like
Yeah.
we have the ability, it's just not super consistent.
Right.
So that's why I think like 1 through 9, and like Evan Carter's like 21 years old, and he started out getting on base his first 6 at bats in the postseason. So like 1 through 9, I just look at them and it's like there's no real like spot to take a breath. It's just like go 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 go. But what the Rays weren't able to do, which the Orioles are going to have to do, is get into the bullpen. I mean, the Rangers only had to use 3 innings of their bullpen. Their middle relief is where they really struggle. So, I mean, the Rays couldn't take advantage where they should have had a huge advantage in terms of bullpen strength. But the Rays no-showed. The fans no-showed. It's just bad. You had a slightly different take. It's bad.
Okay, so definitely 22,000 for a game 1 playoff game is not good. That's not ideal. But the thing with the Rays is like they're I mean, everyone knows their stadium is in a terrible location.
Yeah.
Their stadium is terrible. And I just think, like, I saw something that said of all sports stadiums in America, their stadium has the least amount of population within a 30-mile radius nearby.
Makes sense.
So it's just, I mean, I don't think they are setting. This all started because they're playing in the 3:30 slot. I made the point of like, okay, well, the MLB did that on purpose because they knew that nobody was going to come on a 3:30 game.
Yeah.
And I think that partially they did that to see, hey, look at this team that we might be on the market soon. Is there any investors who's kind of into that thing?
Well,
because if they really wanted to get fans into that stadium, they would have benefited from putting it at the night game, like the 7:00 game, and like Marlins Phillies, you could have put that at the 3:30 slot.
See, I look at it completely differently because no one's showing up. Why credit Tampa, St. Pete? What are they going to get an extra 5, 6? Like they're not selling that place out on for a wild card game.
That's
which the other teams are doing. Like we'll get to the Phillies in a minute, but I have loved watching the Phillies, and like I don't know if I'm allowed to say that Baltimore Philly rivalry, but like watching the Phillies fans have been awesome because. And they deserve that late night spot. Out of all the teams hosting the wild card games, they deserve to be in that spotlight because they're it's like going all out.
Yeah, I just feel like if you're the MLB and they're selling out anyway. I mean, Minnesota, you brought up a great point. Minnesota sold out today.
Yeah.
It was like a 4:00 game start. If they're selling out anyway, why wouldn't you do whatever you could to get the Rays to get their fans in?
And watching the Minnesota game, it really made the difference too.
Yeah.
Like the energy was there.
Well,
and it was awesome.
So the thing is with Minnesota is that their proximity to another team is like remote.
It is.
You're the Twin. It's the Twins. You live and die by the Twins over there.
Mhm.
Whereas in Florida, it's like, okay, well, Jacksonville's over there. The Marlins had already had a pretty strong presence in there, and so I don't know. It's confusing because the Bucks and the Lightning are both two good teams that do great in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
Why aren't the Rays doing that? And I only can go back to, okay, well, the stadium sucks.
Yeah.
The stadium is terrible. It's one of the worst venues in all of sports. And it makes no sense because it's away from, why wouldn't you put it in downtown Tampa?
That's
what
what
Yeah.
they're putting $1.2 billion into this new stadium, but they're keeping it in St. Pete.
Right.
That's what I don't really get is everyone understands that like no one's going to St. Pete because it's very hard to get to. It's like you have to cross water to get to it or something like that. There's a whole thing about it, but it's too far away from Tampa. And so they're putting all this money to stay in St. Pete, and that's like their big driver. It's like, oh, we're staying home, but are things going to change because you get a new stadium?
I don't think so. I think they're still going to have terrible turnouts,
right?
And they're going to do it. And I guess Major League Baseball doesn't care about that. I think they don't. I guess they don't mind that.
I guess
is fine because we're a small market team. I'm all for Tampa keeping their team.
Yeah.
I want them to keep their team because as long as they're around, it's always like, well, maybe someone will take them and not the Orioles.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the MLB is more saying it's your responsibility as a team to get the people there.
I think the investment into the new stadium was like, please don't send us to Nashville. Like the owners were like, here's $1.2 billion. Like we're going to build this brand new stadium. It's going to be great. I don't think that much is going to change, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty disappointing from a Rays team. I think they just ran out of gas. Too many injuries throughout the season, like we said.
That's definitely.
I don't know why they couldn't have done that a month ago. why as soon as the playoff hits they couldn't do anything, but just too much to overcome at the end of the day. Credit to the Rangers. They were one of the teams throughout the season where I was like, man, I really don't want to see them but I think it'll be a good series. Heading to the other AL series, just before we came on, the Twins closed out the Blue Jays in 2 games. Blue Jays, I don't know what to do about you. You're in a spot where you have a lot of young talent. You have a manager that I don't think really gets it, and you had a pitching staff this year that was really good. They could just never really beat the good teams. They sneaked their way into the playoffs, but they didn't do much offensively at all. When you go and play the Twins, you got to figure you really only need 3 or 4 runs a game, and you're going to win most of them because the Twins don't have much to offer offensively. So one or no runs today, 1 run yesterday. I know the Twin starters are great, but there's too much talent on that offense to be doing that.
And again, they got 9 hits today.
Yeah,
like they should have scored some runs, but they just could not perform in the big spots. They had bases loaded at one point when they're down 2-0.
Yeah,
they just couldn't execute, and that's a big part of it, obviously.
Yeah, I think that goes back to just I don't like the manager personally. I'll get to the pitching decision in a minute, but it just goes back for me to like those guys not necessarily having the right approach, right? Bases loaded, Matt Chapman, you can't hit the ball on the ground. Like
Mhm.
no matter what, you have to score a run.
Yeah.
So that turns into a double. I know he just missed a double by 2 inches, right? And that sucks because it very easily could have landed on the line. But in that situation, you got to get the ball in the air. It's a good matchup for you, lefty righty. It's just going back to maybe not having the right approach, not having the fundamentals down. Speaking of fundamentals, Vladdy getting picked off second base, second and third with 2 outs, and Bichette at the plate. That you can't have that.
Yeah, I mean the Twins play great defense, like this whole series. So I think you got to give credit to them for that too. I mean that Correa play yesterday was wild.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, absolutely. With the Blue Jays, it just seems a whole bunch of hype, and maybe it just got to them, and maybe all the players that they had weren't as good as they anticipated them being. You know, but I really like their pitching staff. They were a team that I was always kind of really nervous about seeing too, just because of all the talent they have. They could just at any point kind of pop off.
Yeah, that's what I was. I was thinking the same. Today, Barrios gets pulled after 47 pitches. I understand they probably had that plan going into the game, but you got to be able to read the situation. He was shoving, and he was pitching against his former team. I mean, there's a lot to be proven for him, I think, and he was going out in there and doing it. And when I look at it, the moment he got pulled out was after a Royce Lewis walk, right? So Royce Lewis is on first. He gets pulled out 4th inning. After yesterday's game, Royce Lewis hits 2 home runs. If you're a pitcher, you're thinking there's one guy I can't let beat me today, and it's Royce Lewis. So walking him to me is like, all right, that's okay. Like, so he was probably thinking like, you know what, that's fine. I'm not going to leave him a pitch. I'm not going to give in. I'll get the next guy. Well, you walk him, you get pulled, and all of a sudden you're down 2-0 because Kikuchi just wasn't quite ready.
Now I wasn't watching. What was his body language like when he came out?
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting.
Like it was like he kind of knew it was going to happen.
I think they had a plan.
Okay.
I think you got to get into the game, and it reminds me a lot of Kevin Cash in 2020 in the World Series when I think it was Blake Snell was at like 70 pitches through 6 innings and dominating, and they pulled him because they were like, well, this was our plan. And sure enough, Dodgers right away scored. It's almost a galvanizing effect for the other team. They see that guy get pulled. Okay, we couldn't hit him, so here we go. Like, we got it now. So you just got to be able to read the situation, in my opinion. And I think 47 pitches is so few. He had so much more left in the tank. And I know you got to win today to get to tomorrow, but you would have had to play tomorrow. Asking your bullpen to cover 4 or 5 innings doesn't seem like a recipe for a win tomorrow as well. So that's my rant on the Blue Jays. Credit to the Twins, obviously breaking one of the craziest streak in sports. 18 straight playoff losses. Hadn't won a playoff game since 2014. Or 2004, I'm sorry. So credit to them. They're going to go see the Astros. I think the Astros are probably pretty happy.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely would have rather played the Twins.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Twins fans showed out. It was cool to see. Yeah, like I said, I know their starters are great. They have a great back end of the bullpen for the Twins. You really only have to score 3 or 4 runs. The lineup doesn't offer much, and I know a lot of those guys are hurt. Royce Lewis hits the 2 home runs, but you see him in the dugout. He can't even walk. Like, I think they said on the broadcast today, they told him, if you hit a ground ball, you're out. Like, don't run this out. We need you in the lineup, but don't run it out. And he hit into a double play today. He probably could have beat out under normal circumstances, but maybe he'll continue to get better as the week go on. But I think the Astros are probably clinching their ticket to another ALCS, unfortunately.
So annoying. So annoying. And it looked like they were on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Looked like they'd be playing the Rays.
Yeah.
Man, it stinks.
And MLB needs to reseed. I mean, it is what it is.
They absolutely do.
But NL side, we were watching Phillies Brewers, we're watching Diamondbacks Brewers at the moment. Diamondbacks pull off a crazy win yesterday. Brewers really screwed up. They missed a ton of chances. Had bases loaded multiple times. Couldn't score. Longoria makes a great play to turn a double play. A few great plays. I can't believe he's still doing it at this age. But the Brewers currently up 2-0. We'll see if we get old takes exposed throughout the game here. But I don't know. With Gallen on the mound today after the Brewers losing yesterday, I thought it would be a huge uphill task. I mean, they had everything set up for them. They were facing a guy that should never have been starting a playoff game yesterday. They get him out after 2 2/3 innings, and they just never scored the rest of the game. So tough on them. Maybe they'll come back today and force a game 3. But with no Brandon Woodruff for this series, they're going to have to turn to someone they don't really trust. And the Diamondbacks will have Merrill Kelly going. So you got to think the Diamondbacks are in a pretty good spot. But you never know. The Brewers are pretty feisty.
Yeah, it seems like it. And also Corbin Burns didn't really look great. His command
Yeah.
wasn't very good
Yeah.
yesterday.
He needed to be better for sure. But
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll and Cattell Marte going back to back was awesome. Those two guys are so much fun. Would be very fun to see the Diamondbacks move on.
Yeah, it would. I feel like the Diamondbacks have those two guys that are just it.
Yeah.
You know, and Milwaukee seems to be kind of lacking that.
Definitely. Yelich isn't quite what he was. He's had a pretty good year this year.
Yeah,
he's had a really good year this year, I should say. But outside of him, it's not a ton offensively. They obviously make their name pitching. Losing Brandon Woodruff is a big deal.
Killer. Yeah.
So seeing the Diamondbacks advance would be very fun. Seeing them versus the Dodgers, I think, would set up a really fun matchup. In the last series, Phillies Marlins. I'm mad the Marlins are in the playoffs. This is so perfect for the Phillies just to kind of get their work in. Like, I hate to say it like that, but the Phillies are probably going to roll tonight and set up another rematch with the Braves, which should be a ton of fun.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah, I do like a few players on the Marlins. Like I like Soler, and I like fun. Jazz.
Jazz is so overrated.
It's not the worst thing to watch them play.
No,
in my opinion.
I wanted the Cubs to get in, which they're not a ton of fun to watch either necessarily. I like Dansby a lot. I like Bellinger a lot, but I think anyone in that sixth spot for the NL was just kind of. I guess the Marlins ended up getting the 5, which they didn't have to make up that game against New York. There's a whole thing going on. Whatever. But yeah, anyone that got in wasn't really going to form a big opponent for the Phillies, I don't think. So hopefully the Phillies just take care of it tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully we at least get one Game 3 tomorrow, though. Hopefully, I guess the Brewers win. But
and when are they going to put that?
It'll be late.
7.
Yeah, you're already guaranteed that the AL won't have either series go Game 3. So even if it's 2 games, you'd get them both late night, I would think, or a prime time slot. So
it's so weird though, because I wonder what does better. Because with football going on Thursday, I wonder if they go to 3 o'clock slot for one game.
The football game is Bears Commanders. So
That's true. Dude, still, I mean, people are definitely going to watch that.
I know. I hear you.
So when does anyone start on Friday? It was Friday off for everybody.
Friday's off for everybody. Saturday starts. I'll be there. Game 1, Orioles Rangers. Very excited.
And that's something I was going to bring up. So with those games, obviously only possibly 2 going to Game 3. Anyway, with that happening, like, do teams usually come off this like exhausted?
So it was a very mixed bag last year. The Braves said it multiple times this season. They came out and they lost that series to the Phillies after having the bye and the Phillies playing in the wild card.
Yeah.
The Braves were like, man, we weren't ready.
True.
But on the AL side, both the 1 and 2 seed moved on. So I don't know. I think it's a lot about, I guess, how you prepare and what you're looking like. Like, I know the Orioles today had an open practice to the fans. They played a sim game today. They're playing a simulation game tomorrow. So I know they're like trying to keep the energy up, and I know the Braves are doing the same thing. So I think the Braves have learned from last year that you can't just like take a week of rest and like chill out. But these teams aren't going to be exhausted this week. Like, the teams playing right now, they're not going to be exhausted heading into the DS. Maybe by the time the CS rolls around, they could be. But more, I think the teams that win are just going to have their confidence raised.
Well, again, it stinks that what happened to the Rangers, because the 2 games didn't have to go much into the bullpen. Like, they'll be ready, and they're now hotter because of it.
Yeah,
I was thinking more about the Milwaukee Diamondbacks game, because again, watching that last night, I keep saying it again, but that's just my reference to our group chat. Last night, it looked exhausting. Like, that game looked exhausting, and I'm just thinking about the mental toll it takes on you.
Definitely in a close series like that, and especially when you have so many chances, and it's like the Brewers kind of knew they had to win last night.
Yeah.
And again, they're winning right now. They could definitely go to Game 3, win it, but at this point they're the underdog. So they were pressing a lot last night, which can be very exhausting.
Yeah.
Where I think the Brewers could be in trouble if they do come back is you're probably not starting Corbin Burns on short rest, and then you're not starting Peralta on short rest. So you have to throw someone tomorrow who you're not really comfortable with, and you got to throw someone Saturday that you're probably really not comfortable with. So I know you get your 2 studs Game 2 and Game 3, but starting off Game 1 kind of at a huge disadvantage, I think, would be very, very difficult for them.
So we'll watch that one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you would think if they move on, the Dodgers would be pretty heavy favorites. I would imagine Kershaw's on the mound, which, not a great playoff record, but another guy with not a great playoff record, Tyler Glasnow. Low key, not very good in the playoffs lately. So
Yeah, that was tough to watch. That was killer.
yeah,
And I don't know. It just stinks. The whole Rays thing kind of stinks. Now that it happened, like I don't know, like a week ago, I kind of thought they were going to go to the World Series. Like I had them as my pick out of the AL. I really liked them.
I do feel bad for them.
Like I don't know. It just stinks. And also the Rangers reverting to that team that we had seen in like July is so frustrating beyond all means. But I don't know. I guess I could have to score no runs in both those games. It's just.
Hey, they got one at the end.
Yeah, that's right.
They hadn't scored in like 32 straight postseason innings, but they got one at the end.
Yeah.
It's probably pissed Randy because he didn't play bad.
No, he played great.
I think he had 2 hits both games, or at least.
Yep. Man, the defense that game one was just so bad.
Yeah, man. I mean,
it was all the things the Rays normally do well. They didn't do well, but I do feel bad for them. It was a season from hell for sure.
Yeah.
So, but. We'll keep ourselves updated. We'll keep everyone updated as we go along with this Brewers Diamondback game. Looked like Peralta's throwing pretty well so far. So
you'll see us looking pretty heavily.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep this a little more cash, I think.
But we'll move on to college football. Did you know that there's 50 straight days of football coming up?
No. Shout out Nick. He said that. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, no way,
right.
Really?
Nick, you know this. 90% of what Nick says in the group chat, I saw on TikTok probably 30 minutes earlier.
But yeah, the Conference USA is sort of bridging the gap until we get Maction in November. So Conference USA is starting up with like Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday night games, which is
thank goodness.
Awesome.
Maction needs to be on Wednesdays.
Oh yeah. Oh, it will be in a couple.
I'm just saying, like not having it yet seems ridiculous.
It always feels late, but it's like the first 3 weeks of November. We get our Maction. We'll definitely be watching as we record on Wednesday nights.
Oh my god! Should we have live locks that we give on Twitter? Maybe.
Maybe. I'm in.
Tail with us.
I love Maction. But anyway, in terms of football that matters, I'll start with the Friday night game, which sucked, obviously, but Utah might be dead. Oregon State continues to impress. Obviously, they lost the game last week, but Utah really needed Cam Rising to come back sooner. I don't know if he plays at all at this point. It's just tough with the guy trying to, go to the NFL potentially. Yeah. How much risk do you put on him? I guess they're not dead yet.
Yeah,
but
they went out.
But their offense is so bad at the moment.
They look terrible.
they were leaning on their defense a lot that game, and there was just a point it just cracked.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I was surprised didn't happen against UCLA. Yeah. But Oregon State able to take advantage. Utah needs Cam Rising back real bad, but they might just be dead.
What's up with Oregon State's quarterback thing? Every third drive or something they switch off.
They do some weird things out there. There's some teams that
I
do
never
some
understand
weird things.
that.
I don't know either. I guess it gives a team a different look. One guy's more running versus I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've always kind of liked that.
Really?
Yeah.
The 2 quarterback system?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I always thought it was, especially if you have 2 guys who are polar opposites, do 2 different things.
That's the only thing That's the only way I think it makes sense. Right. But
and also, if one of your guys isn't playing amazing,
well, that's the thing is I think if they know their role, I'm okay with it. If they both know coming into the game, hey, you're both gonna play, we're gonna switch off drives, something like that. That's fine. But this is every third drive, so that's kind of weird. But then also when you just see them going with switching out after an interception or after a fumble, and then coming back in after halftime, it's you can't do that. You gotta stick with the player, build their confidence.
Yeah,
I don't like when it gets messy like that.
I did take a look at Oregon State's schedule. They might not lose for a while. They might be 9-1 heading into a game at home against Washington.
Oh wow!
And then
I'm sure you can get into it. They didn't look great.
They did not. It was the first week that they didn't look great. Oh. And then they have their final home game or their final game of the season's at Oregon, which obviously would be tough. But Oregon State might go on a little run, get a little frisky. People want to start talking about DJ Uyunglele.
That's crazy.
I'm just it's a lot of Cal and Stanford. I think they play Colorado at some point, which who knows, but I just took a look and they don't have quite the gauntlet that the other Pac-12 teams seem to have. So
okay, what's Washington State's schedule looking like too? Because they're a team that's
I have not looked at that, but they still have to play. They would still have to play USC, Utah, Oregon, Colorado. I don't know where they get those games, but they're fun to watch. Yeah, I'm telling you, they're fun to watch. they can definitely come up and bite one of these teams. But
yeah, the more I watch, I just don't think the big three, Washington, USC, and Oregon, are gonna outlast each other. I think they're all just gonna beat up on each other and go 10-2.
That's what happens every year.
So I think the outside looking in is just the more likely way.
Yes,
but
especially that's gone.
It's foul.
Oh, it's foul.
God, when he gets a hold of it.
Wow. Yeah, you mentioned USC. Obviously, Caleb Williams looks awesome.
It's
The defense still sucks.
yeah, it's the same old story with USC, man. I mean,
they might get.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, they should, but it looked like they were about to pull away from that game.
It did.
They were
A
and
ton.
They just let
Multiple
Colorado back in.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Credit Colorado. I mean, they showed
Right,
back up.
yeah.
They started slow once again,
Yeah.
but they did eventually show up. Shedeur Sanders looked very good down the stretch.
They needed that.
They did.
They
did,
need to
yeah.
see if they could do that against big teams.
Absolutely, and that that's a big credit to them. Colorado will be interesting. I think they play at Arizona State this week, which is a winnable game.
Mhm.
Like we've talked about, I hope they get into a bowl game. I'm glad they didn't beat USC, just because I would like the big three, like you're talking about, to stay alive as long as possible,
Yeah.
create these huge matchups down the stretch. But yeah, USC has an issue defensively, and it's not. They might get mauled by Oregon.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be very. I don't know. Oregon looks the most impressive of the three teams.
I
but
agree.
Even then, I mean they have their flaws, and Oregon does this every year, where they just completely collapse.
Yeah.
In a big moment, and I don't know. USC definitely didn't impress me over the weekend.
Oh, Nick's Heisman year. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean maybe it's not crazy. He's doing all right.
At that point, that game's either going to be a shootout or it's going to be 50 points
Yeah.
difference. Can you check the spread on what was the game you said before that?
Colorado at Arizona State.
Yeah, can you
Yeah.
check
I
that?
believe it's Colorado by 4.
Man, Arizona State doesn't look bad.
They're okay. They're not great.
Yeah.
They've gotten better since they let Herm Edwards go a couple years ago. That's for sure. But
I don't like Herm.
I don't think anyone does. I think there's a reason he was let go. But yeah, you mentioned Washington not looking great. First week that they really didn't show up a ton, which I guess will happen time to time, but I think they're gonna be okay. Penix is awesome. I say it every week, but Penix is great. But yeah, they didn't. That was their first week of coming back down to earth, maybe a little bit.
Well, how's Arizona? I don't really know anything.
Not
about
very
Arizona.
good,
Yeah.
but they played USC tough the week before as well.
Okay.
So
That
maybe
could
they're
just be
kind of
defense.
feisty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it 31-24? I think is what I saw for that game.
So I think they're gonna be okay down. But like the other teams we're talking about, they're gonna have a gauntlet because they haven't played Oregon State or Washington State yet. So I mean,
They've just been steamrolling teams until now.
yeah, eventually you got to play
Yeah.
those two, and Utah and Oregon and USC. UCLA isn't amazing, but throw them in there. It's gonna be tough. For
Maybe
a
a
lot
little
of these
scare is
teams.
good for them.
Yeah, I think so. I think for USC maybe potentially too. Like, hey, we
Yeah.
can't just play like that and expect these teams not to come back. But yeah,
+5 to answer your question. +5.
Oh man. Okay. I'll think about it.
But we start off every college football segment with the Pac-12. It's just been so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
I think weirdly there have been the best conference.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite at the top of the place the Big Ten has been, but they've been awesome to watch. Is Georgia not the favorite in your eyes anymore?
Honestly, yeah. I think Georgia
Okay.
is not. I don't think that's an overreaction.
Okay.
I think they play. You can only play like crap so much before it
Yeah.
comes up and bites you. I don't think that's. I think they're still the betting favorite, but they're going to drop one of these games.
I would still put them as the favorite.
Okay.
But not out there.
Yeah.
Not way out there to where they were going to dominate everything. Because when we were talking about last week, I said I didn't mind Auburn because their defense. I said they'll show up against a team like Alabama, who I didn't think could move the ball well.
Mhm.
And then you asked me about Georgia. You said, "Hey, about Georgia." I'm like, no. Like they're going to get smacked by Georgia. But that just shows that gap is not crazy.
Yeah. Which is very fun as for the whole, whatever you want to, the whole world of college football, right? Having it be a very fun, no one is dominant is very fun for the sport.
I agree.
I had Auburn team total under. It was over in the second quarter. I couldn't believe it. They obviously struggled much more down the stretch.
I told you that hurt.
But Georgia, it kept feeling all right, here they come. but it took them a long time to really take the lead. I think you're right. It'll jump up on them, but their schedule's so soft.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, that's what they benefit from, and they also they've won the past 2 years, so it takes 2 losses to get them
Absolutely.
out. I think if they don't lose a game, they go to the SEC title game and lose, they're still going to get in.
Yeah.
And if they lose a game and then win the SEC, they're going to get in. So I think that I like them to make the playoff. I still think they're going to make the playoff, but I don't think I think Michigan beats them. I think Michigan's look really impressive.
I think Michigan has probably looked like the best team in the country.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
Right. I mean, they're Michigan after all.
Yeah.
So.
But I hope, hopefully Michigan, Ohio State, they're both undefeated. Penn State might have something to say about that.
True.
Ohio State, I don't think looks great.
They don't.
We'll see. Terps going to Ohio State this week.
That should be a fun game.
The Terps not being ranked is criminal. But,
Yeah.
But that's another point. The AP is a joke anyway. It doesn't matter. Hopefully they use it as motivation. They have a good team, and Ohio State hasn't looked great. It's always tough to go in the horseshoe and play, but I don't know. And Maryland, when they come up for big games in the past, has gone really bad. So we'll see about it, but I'm somewhat optimistic that this could be a game.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to do it, this would be the year, right, to do it. And I think, especially at quarterback, Ohio State is just so shaky.
Yeah,
I can't trust them in a ton of games where it would normally be a given.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that should be a really fun game. I also think the Big 12, they've got something to say about it too.
Sure.
This weekend.
I mean, this is the game. Yeah,
this will do it.
Yeah, Red River this weekend, Oklahoma, Texas, in Texas. It would be very Texas for them to lose.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm obviously very much hoping they do.
I actually kind of think they do lose this game. Oklahoma doesn't look great, and they've kind of let teams hang around too, but I really like their offense.
Big fan of Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
I think he's awesome. That game should be a lot of fun. I think Texas favored by 6. I already have a rooting interest with Oklahoma to win the title, obviously, but I might still take Oklahoma, which could just be stupid, but is what it is. But I think that game, obviously, that's the best game of this upcoming weekend. Texas did not let Kansas sneak in on them or anything. They rolled them. And yeah, Oklahoma's just Oklahoma looked better this week than they did against Cincinnati. So both teams look pretty ready. This is the game in the Big 12. I don't think there's a ton of other teams that are going to have a ton to say about the Big 12 this year. So
yeah, I don't think so.
When's that game?
This weekend.
I know. Sorry.
Noon.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Nice. Saturdays.
That's,
Saturday is going to be jam-packed.
We got soccer. We got the Orioles game at 1.
I think I'm going to watch Maryland, though.
Maryland, Ohio State's also at noon.
But then what are you going to do when those come on? You got to watch the O's.
I'll watch the O's.
It's a three TV kind of day.
Yeah, Sundays or Saturday's going to be wild. This weekend,
you got to do homework.
Yeah, I can do it at night. Saturday night,
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
And I figured Friday I'd do some work.
Okay. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's finals week, so I'm busy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is going to be a busy weekend.
How many you got?
2.
So
not bad, but they're timed 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. That's not fun. I'll do them Tuesday. Whatever. Accounting and statistics.
Oh.
Yeah, not fun, dude.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Do they make you record a video when you do it?
No.
So you can use cheat sheets?
No, yeah, you can cheat stuff.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, I don't do that. That's not something I ever do.
No. Of course not.
But yeah, it's designed, but the questions are way harder.
Yeah.
So, so it's not fun. Statistics has been my least favorite class of all that I've ever taken.
It's awful.
It's terrible.
For no reason.
Yeah.
It should
For
be
no
easy.
It should be fun.
It should
statistics
be.
are fun.
Right. We use them in sports all the time, but I hate it. I hate it so much.
What were we talking about?
there.
We're college football.
Okay.
Got him. Okay. That double play was clutch. I don't know if you didn't see that.
I did.
That was a nice clutch.
Sweating Zach Gallen over 16 and a half outs out here.
He's at 55 pitches through 3 innings.
That's not
bad.
Better than what the first inning was.
Yes, absolutely true. He just needs one. All right.
Back to college football. Ole Miss, LSU was awesome.
Yeah.
That was a game we haven't seen in college football. I feel like in a while, just where neither defense can stop either team, which is just what makes college football so fun. Ole Miss comes up short, LSU comes up short yet again. Brian Kelly might be a bad coach.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize to everyone that's listening to this podcast because I liked LSU. I thought they were going to be like I thought they'd have something to say in the SEC. I thought they were going to make some noise, but their defense is terrible.
Yeah.
And they just got stomped. It's just a shame. It stinks, man. And I got to apologize to Ryan too.
I know.
He bashed Brian Kelly. I was like, I don't know, I kind of like him.
I kind of like Brian Kelly too, but this season's kind of an eye-opening.
Yeah, I mean, really, if any year for him to take the reins, take control of the SEC,
right,
it'd be this year. It's crazy. And Ole Miss, they're not done.
Not quite.
If some team has to go be the third team to shake things up in the SEC.
Maybe there's not one.
You don't think so? Kentucky, maybe.
They're gonna. Don't they have Bama this week?
Yes, I think so. Or they might have Georgia.
It's Georgia. I think you're right. I think it's Georgia.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like Georgia. I mean, Kentucky runs the football really well.
You're right.
Maybe it's like I don't know.
Georgia.
It's hard to out Georgia what Georgia does.
I thought Florida was getting better.
Yeah,
that didn't go well. And the SEC is a mess.
Give up on Florida.
Yeah, I will. I certainly will give up on Florida. That's enough of them. Kentucky just kind of outwilled them the whole game. But yeah, Kentucky does have Georgia this week. I don't see that Kentucky can win, but it'd be funny.
I hope they do.
That'd be fun.
Madness.
Georgia?
Yeah, I think it's at Georgia. Oh, I can't remember totally, but
Tennessee, they're 4-1. They're not over.
Did you see the Spencer Rattler stuff about that?
No.
Like he was saying that Tennessee was acting like they just won the Super Bowl or whatever. I think he is so cocky.
I can't stand Spencer Rattler,
and he thinks he owns the world. Like I think he thinks he's an NFL quarterback.
He got told at a young age that he was the world, and then it didn't really work out right away. And now he's at South Carolina and
Oklahoma, right?
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
Yeah, because he came in right after Baker.
Yeah.
Yep.
And everyone was like, "Oh, here's another Oklahoma quarterback. Here they come." And he was not that guy. And he's okay at South Carolina, but he's certainly not great.
And somehow Ryan makes me believe in them every year.
Yeah, no, don't believe in
No,
Spencer
Ryan.
Rattler.
Gamecocks do not cover.
I don't believe in Tennessee either, just for the record.
Yeah, no, me either.
Bama has Texas A&M this week in Texas A&M. 2-point spread. Very interesting.
Wow.
Really?
Max Johnson, huh? I feel like we've seen Max Johnson against Alabama before. Just saying.
And how do you do?
I'm pretty sure it was like 30-0. I could be talking completely
LSU?
wrong.
30-0? Like
No, I think this could be very bad. But I kind of like Texas A&M at the same time, and Bama just doesn't look very good. Their offense is so bad. I don't know. We keep hoping the SEC is fun. I don't know that it is.
Yeah, that might just be becoming a game you don't care about as much anymore.
Yeah,
like we're kind of talking about here. Like when I noticed that, when you said earlier, when I see the headlines on ESPN, it's usually not Alabama or Georgia at the top right now. It's some kind of team like Oregon or Colorado. It's also Deion,
right?
So that's different.
Deion definitely helps with that, but
it's interesting.
It is. Maybe that's how Georgia wants it, but they got to start showing some stuff, in my opinion. But it is still early in October. They got time. Only other note I had on college football: Cade McNamara is out for the year for Iowa, so their offensive coordinator might be getting fired.
They did good this week, though, right?
No, I thought you didn't you send something in the chat?
That was 2 weeks.
That was last week.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we took their team total over, but
they ended up winning. Yes. Yes.
Like they at least got 20, I think.
I think they did. I think they had a punt return touchdown. That's what it was.
Does that count?
Yes. All scores count.
Very nice.
Yeah. Oh, I was watching that game. It was against Michigan State. That's right. Now that I'm jogging my memory.
That's funny.
And I live bet Iowa, and I hadn't turned it on yet, so I didn't know McNamara got hurt, and I turned it on, and it was some
He's
guy.
on crutches.
Yeah. I'm like, what? But they get a punt return touchdown, and then I think they got an interception, and Michigan State couldn't score on them. So. Their offensive coordinator might be in bad shape unless there was a clause like if our starting quarterback gets hurt, it doesn't count. I don't know.
That backup quarterback was throwing ducks too.
Yeah, he was. It's not a good scene.
What a fun thing to track, though.
I know. Oh my gosh. That was all. Did you guys have anything else for college football?
Well, I had a question, but before I get to the question, Notre Dame. Do you want to talk about Notre Dame?
That's the one I missed.
Yeah, Notre Dame and Duke. That was really impressive by Notre Dame. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
Call me crazy. I think they might be USC. I think Ryan has gotten to me.
Hey, they got to get through Louisville first this week. Louisville's been better,
that's true.
and they got to go to Louisville after going to Duke, Duke was just like a knock them in the mouth type game. Like they got to be worn out after the Ohio State game and now that game. So they got to deal with Louisville this week. I think that could be an interesting spot, but I give a lot of credit to Sam Hartman and Notre Dame for completing that crazy long fourth down,
16.
Yeah, and then end up winning by 7. That was a tough game, but they pulled it out and kept their season alive.
Yeah. That was really impressive. And a shame for Duke, too, because they looked good that game, too. They had that game. It looked like they were controlling that game for most of it.
Defense is good.
Yeah. Not done. I'm going to say it. If you have one loss.
One loss ACC teams might be done.
Yeah. Well, Florida State's, they're around, too.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you had to, we talked about the Pac-12 first. If you had to pick one team to win the Pac-12, who's winning the Pac-12?
Oregon.
I think I'm with you. Oregon looked like crap for the first quarter and a half, and then they pulled away.
Have you,
to the tune of 42 points?
Have you become an Oregon homer a little bit?
Yeah.
Is it happening?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Makes sense.
I'm a proud transplant Oregon. It was not negotiable.
That's huge.
But that was close. But yeah, I think
That's
so.
cool,
But also, they've looked really good, and I think Lanning's is a good coach,
I think so,
and I think they got out what they needed to get out last year. They lose to Georgia by a lot, and then they choke a game away against who did they lose to last year? I think it was
you want to say Utah?
I think it was Utah. I think it was Utah twice. No, that was the year before with Anthony Brown. But Utah, I think
it was Utah.
But yeah, they've looked really good this year, and they haven't. Of all the teams, they look the most complete so far. But
I want it to be USC or Washington just because how fun they are.
Yeah,
Oregon's just so complete.
Yeah,
they're able to run the ball well. They play defense well. Bo Nix does exactly what you need him to. So to this point, I think it's Oregon.
I've seen Bo Nix make a lot of mistakes in the past too, though.
Sure,
and he hasn't been put in that spot yet.
He's almost like a different guy. When they got him, I was like,
but we'll see, right?
Right,
Like you can't say that yet.
Yeah, that's true. But even last year, he was better. Like at Auburn, it would be like, all right, whoa, Bo Nix. Okay, he threw 4 interceptions.
He wouldn't move the ball downfield.
Yeah.
Now it seems like he's chucking it like 30, 40 yards with precision.
Yeah.
So, I think I'd lean Oregon, but they're Oregon. So
I think they have the best chance in the playoff too. Just because of the way their defense plays and all that kind of stuff.
That makes sense. There are teams like you said, USC and Washington. They're gonna have to keep up. Like it's gonna have to be a race for them.
Oh yeah, they need to score 50.
Yeah.
So, that'll be fun to watch. Like we say every week, but that race is gonna be a lot of fun coming down. And hopefully, one of them gets in. They deserve it. Never having a team in the playoff is wild.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the NFL, and trade happened today that I don't understand, and I'm hoping one of you can help me. Why did the Patriots trade for J.C. Jackson?
Oh, I don't know.
They're bad.
They don't think they're bad though.
They're bad.
They don't. Yeah. Well, they what was it? 2 years ago, they poured the most money in free agency into players, and it was guys like Hunter Henry, and like
Devontae Parker,
Johnny Smith. I don't know. I don't think they think they're selling. I think they got Bill Belichick, so they can.
Yes.
But I'm with you. I don't get it. Well, he hasn't been very good in L.A.
No, and he's been hurt and things of that nature. But I just don't understand adding pieces right now. You should probably try to go get Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's okay to admit that Mac Jones is not the answer. But hey, you remember I asked? I was like, "Do you think Mac Jones is done?" I actually think he might.
I think he might be done. The question I had after Sunday, which I'm interested to hear your guys' take on, has Belichick's legacy been affected at all in the post-Brady years for you guys?
I'll let Andrew go first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when that happens and the player wins the Super Bowl and you completely fall off a cliff, it's a bad look. It's a bad look. And it's also because he didn't really have any success before Brady was there. So how are you supposed to explain that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, he won 6 Super Bowls.
Sure.
So I think okay. Has it tarnished his legacy a little bit? Probably, because he's still operating with the assumption that he has somebody at quarterback who's like Tom Brady. Yeah. And so it would make sense to do the stuff that he's doing, like signing guys like Hunter Henry, who are just solid pieces.
Right.
If you have a top 10 quarterback at the helm, but he's got Mac Jones, and so it's like everything just looks like an 8-8 team all the time.
Yeah.
But as far as they should never fire him. He should have the longest leash in sports history.
Yeah,
he should be able to stay there as long as he wants.
I agree, but
if they go 0-16 for 4 years in a row, he should be fine because he won 6 Super Bowls. He won.
I agree with you, but that's only because if you're the owner or general manager and you fire him, and the next coach you bring in sucks, that's your job. Their GM has such an easy job because they just have to be like, well, it's Belichick, so we don't have to worry about finding a coach,
Yeah.
But
I guess
to an extent. But then when it comes to the players for the GM, it's like, why aren't you giving him what he needs? He's a 6-time Super Bowl GM too.
Totally fair. For me, I think it's taken a step back. I agree with Andrew. I understand that at some point the players got to make plays and things of that nature, but it's so ugly.
It is super ugly. Well, one thing I'll give them credit for, it doesn't seem like they obviously they got blown out by Dallas. That was an ugly game. But usually it's not like that. Usually they're in games, they just don't have the talent to be able to compete with teams. That game, I referenced that week 1 against Seattle, where Cam tried to get the 4th and goal. That was the first year without Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And then, this year, week 1 against the Eagles.
Yeah.
And they made the play. Their first year, he went 8-8, something like that. Their second year, they made the playoffs. I think they won the division. No, they didn't win the division. They lost to Buffalo in the wild card round. But it's not like they're 2-14.
No,
they're still competitive.
They're just really bad right now.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And they're in a not so great. I mean, they could still mess around and go 8-9.
I think they have 2 winnable games ahead of them, which we'll see what happens. But yeah, Mac looks tough. And Judon might be out for the year as well. So
that's
a big blow to the defense.
He's been great for them.
Yeah, he has. So we can talk about some good teams.
Did you plan on doing the halftime show later?
Nope. We can do that now.
Okay. Because I know Megan probably wants to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. What time is it?
8:24.
Okay. Cool.
We'll talk more on NFL on the other side of the break. Yes. I got ahead of my skis. Welcome to the halftime dough. What do we got?
Brownie Sundaes. All homemade ice cream again. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. She makes very fudgy brownies, so I'm hoping it stays that way. I have not tried this yet. But here we go. Yeah, it's just vanilla ice cream brownies with, I think, semi-sweet chocolate chips probably, and then homemade hot fudge and homemade caramel.
Homemade?
Wow.
She's whipping it all up. Everything in here is homemade.
Holy crap.
It's crazy.
Wow. I don't even know where you start to make caramel.
How do you... Yeah.
I don't know either.
What is caramel?
Oh, that's good.
That's quite good.
That's really good. Wow. Jeez.
You can't go wrong.
No, exactly. That's the thing with this one.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Such a staple.
Not gonna lie, I'm not a big caramel guy.
I'm really not either, but I've come around to it lately, to be honest.
She wasn't sure where to pull the trigger on the caramel or not, but I like caramel. That's all matters, okay?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to totally dislike caramel,
Yeah.
But,
and it kind of with this, it mixes in with everything.
Yeah.
Wow, that's actually really good. Don't laugh.
No, you're just right. It's hard for this to be bad.
It's hard for it to be bad, right?
hey, but it's all homemade. So
Yeah, that's true.
Uh-huh.
There's room for error somewhere.
Seriously, the caramel is the best part. Wow.
Now, when I was up there, 2-1.
Oh, yeah. Alec Thomas went yard.
When I was up there, she was putting all the air herself, just now, and she originally was going to do 2 scoops of ice cream. I think 1 scoop was the right call.
I think that's probably right. Yeah.
1 scoop.
Because we'd be here for another 5 minutes doing this. But I feel like this could be a restaurant thing.
Oh, yeah.
I could see. I would get this in a restaurant and be happy with it.
For sure.
That's the other thing. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
She wanted to do a brownie skillet,
Oh, sorry.
but we weren't gonna get mini ones. She just wanted to do one, and I'm like, Ben doesn't even want to share crab dip.
You're not a share guy?
No, man.
I was like, one brownie skillet would be a little weird to all be sharing.
Yeah, like we're all.
Yeah,
I don't care.
but the vibes for a brownie skillet are different.
All right, maybe we can try it. Whatever. But I'm telling you, I'm gonna be at the corner, just like,
Yeah.
have my little piece.
It's true.
I'm not afraid to admit it.
I knew you were like that about apps. I guess I didn't think about dessert. I think it's a weird take.
I don't like shareables. I like my own individual thing.
I don't know, because ice cream gets so melty and messy. It's like,
Yeah.
eventually you're all like touching the same stuff.
No, okay.
It's
totally
gonna get to
fair.
that point.
I was going to the appetizer side of this. That's a
Like mozzarella sticks, and by the way, I'm gonna say 8. It's a solid 8. Can't go wrong.
8.5.
8-4. 8-4.
Anyway, continue. Mozzarella sticks.
Mozzarella sticks, even wings to an extent, like chicken fingers and stuff. Like, you can grab that and make it your own individual thing. So I'm totally cool with that.
That's a good
Even
point.
nachos, kind of to an extent, like you can grab it.
Nachos
and
can
make
get
it,
messy too.
They get
Oh, yeah.
messy, but you give up. Everyone gives up by the time they're messy. It's like,
Fair.
okay, these are soggy chips. I'm not eating. Like, you name me anyone who's eaten a full plate of nachos. That has in a group that's eating a full thing of nachos. It does not happen because everyone gives up. They're like, okay, this is dumb. I'm not doing this.
It's also because you don't want to be that guy too, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And like but like that's also why I don't like shareables. Like, just give me my own thing of nachos. I'll eat the whole thing. I don't have any reservations about what's going on. There's no weird social dynamics.
No, you're right. There are
Maybe I'm
social
crazy.
dynamics.
Yeah, right. I don't know, maybe
When you're all sharing crab dip. Again, I love crab dip. But when you're all sharing crab dip, it's like, how much should I really be taking right now?
the wedding I went to, crab dip was one of the appetizers they had. So I did enjoy
But
some crab
that
dip.
you take your spoon, put your little on
Yeah,
the
you
plate.
take your screw. You're right. You put
And
it
at
on
a wedding,
plate,
you don't
there's
care.
some bread.
You
At
know?
a wedding, that's right. Exactly.
No one knows if to call the crab dip.
That's right. Well,
How many times gonna walk back over there?
but there's so much. They're not
Yeah.
going to go through all that crab dip. I wonder what they do with all the food. They should give it to give some to go.
What do we do to Eagle's Nest? I think it just gets thrown away. The leftovers go to like the servers and stuff.
Yeah,
and then
That sucks.
I was gonna say when we cater, I end up with like 6 pounds of pit beef sometimes, but
well, yeah, for our wedding, everything we gave people to go things. Austin took stuff to his campground. Like
Wow.
he took huge things like ham and turkey and stuff.
I definitely didn't hear about leftovers at your wedding. It's fine.
Woof. We're making to go plates.
Wow. That's fine. I don't even care. What about pizza though?
I don't know. Like, so you're not going to order it as an appetizer, right?
No, but I'm saying like you're watching football. Us three go watch football. Like
Yeah,
at someone's house, and we order a pizza.
So that's kind of a thing where you're taking it and putting it on your own plate. You know?
Yeah, but if there's one slice left, don't you have reservations about?
I mean,
taking
not
the left?
really.
Okay.
Because the pizza has the box. So like the box is kind of like its own. You know, you lift the box. It's almost like ooh. You know? Like there's no like, I'm taking the last slice of pizza. You
Okay.
know,
Right.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Fair enough. Back to the NFL. All right, we talked about Patriots. We talked about J.C. Jackson. I said we'd talk about some good teams. Niners still look great. They let the Cardinals back in a little bit, but then they took off again. CMC is kind of unfair on that team.
Oh yeah.
They seem like they're the best team in football, but they play Dallas this week. That should be a lot of fun. Sunday Night Football in San Francisco.
We're due for a good game like that.
Yeah.
Prime time has been miserable.
Yeah.
But I think San Fran will come. I kind of think they're kind of going to blow them out, though. I'm going to be honest
Really?
with you.
I hope not.
I know.
Yeah,
I hope not. But
too. Dak looks off. Doesn't he look
yeah, he's
weird?
never been good.
I don't know. He just doesn't look like the superstar we've seen in the past. Kind of. I mean, I guess he was never really a superstar.
Yeah.
But has he? I don't think he's thrown for a 300 game. 300
No.
yards one
Hasn't
time.
had to.
And CD hasn't
Yeah,
looked good.
Right.
but
Like-
that may be Dak's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It should be a good game. I mean, I actually think it'll be close.
Hmm.
But
I hope
Who
it is.
knows?
I could see it not being. You're right.
I could see Dak making a few bad plays, and
yeah, for
that
sure.
could be it.
I could also see the our way happening though.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
Brock,
could see Brock finally making the
I-
bad players.
That's
though.
true.
I think Dallas's defense comes to play.
Yeah,
I think
They just gotta stop the run first, and then we'll see what happens.
Yes.
yeah, that's the big
that's
thing.
right.
Which we'll see.
Yep.
Are the Eagles not a good team? Are they Georgia of the NFL?
Nah, they're good.
I-
I was thinking
all
about
right.
that the other day.
Yeah, I still think they're good.
I think so too. Just thought I'd
Um,
bring it up.
I think they have too much in their arsenal to where they're so different
Yeah,
from any other team, and it makes it very hard to stop.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious the whole thing about the 4th and 1 situation, how no one else can do it.
I know. No one can
Yeah.
do it. No one. The Giants got 2 players hurt trying to do it.
Yeah, they did.
Like it's with everyone trying it. Okay, if it was working, this was 100% getting abolished after this year.
Yeah.
But now it's like you're
Yeah.
really going to go after this one team,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the only team that can really do it.
Well, I mean, only one team has like Jason Kelsey, right?
Yeah, that's,
Exactly.
You know, only
Like
one
he
team has the
is-
left guard fall starting. You know.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yes, Corbin. Yeah, I think that being in their arsenal, like,
It makes it tough.
It does. I hate watching it too. No one
Yeah.
likes watching it,
Yeah.
and I bet you Jason Kelsey, besides like him getting the praise for it, I'm sure he likes that. But I'm worried for him. That's a lot of hits you're taking.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
I can't remember who was on a different show that I was watching. Might have been a Panther. I can't totally remember.
Okay.
But the center was saying like
My mind's going to Ryan Khalil.
I don't remember. I can't remember.
Khalil.
But like the center was pretty much saying like, you know, we're just kind of cutting everybody, but the quarterback can get hit pretty hard because there's no offensive lineman to block the next guy.
Yeah.
So the linebackers just have kind of a free shot.
Yeah.
So
Which is why Daniel Jones can't do it.
yeah, and the quarterback was like, yeah, let's not do that one again. Like
Wow.
like, you know, maybe in a very serious situation, obviously, maybe not on another quarterback that maybe had a broken hand, that maybe you shouldn't run a QB sneak with your quarterback having a broken finger. Regardless, you know,
I loved that when that happened in the Chargers game.
the
That
Chargers are
that
so
switched.
dumb.
Like it was.
We'll get. I have thoughts. We'll get to them. But my point about the Eagles, their defense doesn't look like they have a secondary issue. Like their secondary is not
Yeah,
great.
they let up the pass. They're one of the worst passing offensive teams. But I think that might be just because you can't run.
You
the
can't
ball
run on them, right? Tampa Bay had that same scenario in their Super Bowl year. It was
Yeah.
like, man, look at these passing stats. You can. But it was like, no, you just cannot run on them. So
Yeah.
I see that, but I don't know. The Commanders should have went for 2. Like,
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
definitely could have won the game.
Mhm.
They were probably never going to win in overtime. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Ron Rivera just keeps doing things that make me think he's not going to be around.
Yeah, well, he's just good enough.
Yeah.
to stick around. Like, I mean, like that's a win for them, kind of, right? Like tying the Eagles.
Well, they
You know,
lost.
like, well, yeah, but
I
like,
can't remember how that ended after that.
field goal. They,
In regulation.
no, Washington got the ball first.
True.
In overtime, they couldn't get it. Jake Elliott wins it.
yeah,
You're right. That's one that they got there. To an
yeah,
extent.
like they're not trying to do anything this year.
But
I don't.
They should
know.
be, but
they have like they are trying to do something. Like they can get into the playoffs. Not saying they can, like from our perspective they can't win a Super Bowl, but from their perspective, why not? You know, they can sneak in. They can, but if they win that game, they're top of the NFC East.
yeah,
You know, for the time being. But that's a win against the Eagles. That can go a long way.
and yeah.
Ron Rivera is saying their offense is too tired. I mean, don't you think the defense is just as tired?
Yeah.
You know. So I don't know.
I've always been in favor. If you're the underdog, go for 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're the
Especially
underdog,
on the
go
road,
for 2.
man.
Right? Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, that's probably your best odds to win the game.
Oh yeah, I would.
in overtime.
I would agree. I guess they thought they were moving the ball well enough, but
Yeah.
it just. I think that was bad, and you got to kind of look ahead. I know they're playing the Bears tomorrow, and we'll get to our best bets and everything in a few minutes. But you kind of got to think about, hey, I don't really want my team playing in overtime when on a short week,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden this Bears game, you can't lose to the Bears. They're
Right.
horrible, right?
Mhm.
So you add a couple minutes to playing, you add extra stress on your offense and defense. Now they're a little bit more tired. You got this short week where you got to travel back from Philly, which isn't tough, but all of a sudden you add a couple more layers into this game that you kind of have to win just because of the opponent being so bad. So
True. They're gonna get one.
The Bears will probably get one, maybe eventually. And short week is the time to do it. We'll see.
I actually don't hate them on Thursday.
Thursday night's the time to do it too.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Oh, Diamondbacks might have just taken the lead.
Over 2.5.
Harper-Kerr.
Wait, I said it too early. Okay.
Okay, he's
There you
home.
go.
Yep, 3-2. Diamondbacks 6th inning. Ketel Marte.
That was easy money. Team total? No, I was worried. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow. So the Brewers might be screwed again. Here we go.
Wow. That's wild.
No outs.
Yeah, no outs.
Ugh.
Hopefully Zach Gallen sticks around, but I could see them now with a lead going to the pen.
I think his pitch count
He was at like
70,
80.
80.
Yeah.
Are we in the 5th or the 6th?
This is top of the 6th.
So Peralta was a lock
Yeah,
for outs.
for outs, but
Good call, Justin.
but he's kind of given up the game at this point.
Yeah.
That center fielder cannot throw home in that
Yeah, that was-
situation. He
Good
gave
toss.
he gave Marte second base though.
Yeah.
Anywho, other notes from the week. The Lions on Thursday night, the last Thursday night, showed up in a big way. Jordan Love looked miserable,
Mhm.
but credit to the Lions for going out there and going on the road on a short week and getting a big win. Could decide the division. They looked like the team everyone says they are. So big credit to them. We'll see how that looks moving forward. But getting Jameson Williams back a couple weeks early is super interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How'd that go down?
I guess the NFL just switched the rules and they were like, well, if we're switching them for next year, we might as well make it eligible for this year. But
Keep press spacebar.
but yeah, it's crazy to just be like, all right, now you have this player back. I don't know. Obviously, he hasn't shown anything in the NFL. He could be very bad, but they kind of do need that guy that can go deep and stretch the field out a little bit. But looks like David Montgomery's going to lead league in touchdowns just like Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
They
the
look
Lions.
good, man. Their offense looks really good.
Yeah, Jared Goff looks good.
Yeah.
Why didn't we know? Why didn't we know about this Montgomery thing? We should have known.
Kind of knew.
That was free money. I bet you because his whole year total for touchdowns was 6.5.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Wish I would have seen that.
Is he at that already?
He's at 5. But yeah, Jordan Love not look good, but
Yeah.
that's kind of it's gonna be up and down all year. I think.
Yeah.
Packers need to get a little bit more healthy. Watson and Jones are on a snap count, it seems. So
Yeah. And Jones got re-injured.
yeah.
So
What?
yeah.
What happened?
I think
My
it was
best
the same
ball.
Thing. They just pulled, he had like 3 carries and they just pulled him out again.
It might have just been time of the game and
Yeah.
stuff, but I didn't see practice today or anything. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Still
we'll
don't
see
know
about
the
them.
Packers.
Yeah. Vikings get a win, and Kirk Cousins throws another pick 6 on the goal line early, but they end up coming out with the victory. Good for them. Panthers look pretty rough, especially with Bryce Young starting, which obviously is a long leash, but very tough to give up your first round pick this year, and that might be a top 3 pick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're not cool.
That's crazy.
It was a lot. It was a lot to give up.
Yeah.
Even if it was like, unless it was like an Andrew Luck type prospect, Peyton Manning like.
That's
but
what's interesting.
It's just
is
so
a lot of people
much.
a lot of people didn't have that much difference between Stroud and Young.
Yeah.
So to give up that much, I know they were at like 9, so they weren't going to get either at the time,
Yeah.
but they did give up a lot to go get him, and it's not off to a great start. Apparently they're trying to trade for a wide receiver 1, which why didn't you do that before the season?
Like the thing about that trade is they didn't have to give him DJ Moore. They would have probably
Yeah.
taken that trade without DJ Moore, but they
Or
gave him
somebody
DJ Moore
else,
too.
you know?
Yeah. So I don't know. It just stinks. I mean, like, because we don't even know. I don't even know how to evaluate Bryce Young because his weapons are terrible. I mean, I can't believe
He's making Thielen look like.
Well, the one thing I'll say is Andy Dalton scored like 27 points or whatever.
Yes.
And I know that's way other spectrum, right? Crazy, like 14-year vet or whatever.
Right.
But are the weapons that bad? That's where I'm like, maybe Bryce isn't quite the number 1 pick that we think he is, but
Right.
to an extent, you're right. Like it's hard to evaluate.
Yeah, and also I think the Seahawks D stinks.
Yeah.
Even though they beat up on. We'll get to that too. They beat up on the Giants. They played really well there, but I mean, just from a passing standpoint, I think that just says the Giants are terrible. More than,
I mean, we can just be done with that after a quick second. That was a horrible watch.
Yeah, that was the worst game I think. Of
They're
this year.
creeping
But-
back in, and then what
And then
happens?
the pick 6.
And then the pick 6 by the
On
guy
the
you
flat
knew.
route.
He was having a great game.
Mm-hmm.
He was having a fantastic game.
Yeah, good pick by them. They got some really good young corners.
They
Seattle.
do. I don't know.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But oh man, the Giants' offensive line was putrid. Daniel Jones is so bad.
Yeah, they're gonna have to blow it up.
Yeah, I think they can get out of his deal after this year, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, and their upcoming schedule looks really rough. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a tough one for the Giants. I feel pretty good about my preseason prediction on them. So, talking about the Bears, are they outright tanking? Because Justin Fields kind of threw the ball backwards.
Yeah.
He'd be the last person.
I know.
to
Because he needs
tank.
to try to keep his job.
Yeah.
Right. He was good.
He actually played really well.
I didn't see how they fell apart because they were up, right?
They were up 28-7.
Yeah.
You know, and they completely.
Well, the last touchdown was he was getting pressured and he went to like throw it away and it slipped out of his hands backwards and it was a fumble 6. So that happened. But yeah, he started off really well. I don't know. They're really bad.
They're so bad. Yeah, I don't. They got DJ Moore involved though. He had a good game.
Cole Kmet too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm excited about that.
and even though they won, the Broncos still look terrible.
Their defense is
They are
bad.
which is insane. It shouldn't be, but it is. It's bad.
Bad.
I don't know. That game is such a mess. I mean, both of those teams are done, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
They're
both
terrible.
done for sure.
I think the Broncos have a winnable game this week. Oh, they play the Jets.
Yeah,
Well,
at home, right?
yeah. Other quarterback that we'll talk about, Zach Wilson. Is he good?
Better than Patrick Mahomes, according to Swifties.
Yeah. For one night.
I think he's better than we think.
I think he had one good quarter, if I'm being honest. I think they got down 17-0. I think that's what it was. He kind of just started letting it fly. Made some nice throws, don't get me wrong. Good back shoulder throws. I just don't think the Chiefs were like ready for it at all.
Maybe.
And
Maybe they thought they were gonna have the over and rush attempts for Brees Hall.
Yeah. And once that, they scored the touchdown with like 10 minutes left in the third quarter, and then they don't score again.
Yeah.
He kind of turned back into himself. He drops a snap, and that leads to the Chiefs winning the game. It'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. It was fun to watch, like him actually kind of play well, but that's another bad game. Jets Broncos this week, but the Jets defense kind of let them down early, and the Chiefs only scored 3 in the second half. So I mean, they could have won.
Yeah.
But Zach did kind of turn back into Zach.
Boy, and there was also the whole thing with Sauce. That was the.
I'm gonna be honest; it was probably a penalty.
What he's calling a ghost call.
I kind of think it was a penalty of some sort.
I get it though. The whole it's there all game. They don't call.
I
all
agree.
Game.
I agree, and it's a bad look.
Yeah.
But I kind of think that was probably a penalty.
I think so too. It obviously it's a pivotal moment. Everyone's looking at it, so you have to call it almost.
Yeah.
When it's that bad. When you see the shirt go, you gotta
exactly.
call it.
Yeah, exactly. But that was a weird rundown. I didn't know if he got tagged.
Did he get?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, they definitely could have won that game. That might have been their last stand. But Zach Wilson probably bought himself another month of playing quarterback. So we'll see how he continues.
I mean, if they win, they're 2-3.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm just saying, you're not dead. I think
guess.
4 wins is then it's like 1-4. That's killer.
Yeah. I guess. I think
They're probably done.
they're probably dead. They're just not catching Buffalo or Miami, and then I guess you're just hoping other teams continue to be bad. But
Yeah.
You got him by a lease. It looks like.
Yeah, it's just the one thing going for them and for all these teams, by the way.
Sorry.
Because obviously the Broncos are bad. I think they're done. But their offenses look decent.
It has.
And the AFC is all of a sudden terrible. Like, the AFC is bad.
It hasn't been good.
I'll let you finish your rundown of games.
No. I'm jumping all over the place. We'll go right there.
It's not crazy to think that the AFC South gets 2 teams in. It's not wild to think they get 3 in. I don't think that's out.
That's crazy.
I'm just saying it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, the AFC South, seriously, like, besides, so
they're all just going to go 8 and 9. Like,
And they're also the same situation with the Pac-12. They're going to just beat up on each other.
You think?
Because they haven't played divisional games early.
No, Colts play Tennessee this week. It's a pick 'em. I don't know who wins, obviously. Like,
and the records already aren't great for all of them.
they're all 2-2.
Yeah,
it's just like
the wins aren't there.
Bills, Ravens, Chiefs, Chargers probably get in. Steelers, you think?
Yeah.
They look like
They're
crap.
terrible.
I think they're going to get in.
You think? Oh, man, I don't know.
And, no.
That's
Don't put
it. Dolphins. The Dolphins.
Steelers 2-2, right?
Those are 2-2.
and bad.
Yeah, but they're a pick six. Deshaun Watson pick six away from being 1-3.
And, hey, they could beat the Ravens this week.
Still, but you got to fill 2 spots there. And so who is it? It's going to be like
Steelers.
the Steelers or the Colts or
Look, I'm about to go in on the Bengals, but they're probably going to turn it around. Like
maybe
if we're
they should.
Man, this is a spot to pick them, right?
they have to win.
They have to win this game. This is a must win. Well, the thing about the Bengals, their schedule. Their schedule is so tough.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And I don't think they could beat like Pittsburgh or Cleveland guaranteed right now.
Not guaranteed, but
You know?
Neither can we though.
well, we just did it.
I think Cleveland is kind of down.
Well, I
still believe in Cleveland.
I give credit to Cleveland, and this is where like I think I talked about it last week, but this is where I fault the Bengals a ton, and I'm actually going to give credit to Cleveland for the other side of it. Deshaun Watson maybe was healthy enough to go, but decided to sit him out with the bye next week. And I understand different circumstances, but with the bye coming up, giving him 2 full weeks of rest. But, saying, hey, and even in a home divisional game, they said, hey, you know what? It's week 4. Let's get our quarterback healthy. And we all obviously have opinions about Deshaun Watson probably not being very good. But at the same time, hey, let's get our quarterback healthy for the stretch run, as opposed to the Bengals where it's like, oh, Joe, you can kind of play? Yeah, all right, go play. It'll be fine. Where he's just never going to be healthy the rest of the season.
Worst QBR in the league.
Yeah. They have the least amount of touchdowns in the league.
Yeah.
So if they sit him week 1 and week 2, they might still start 0-2, and then all of a sudden you get him back fully healthy, and it's like, okay, now we go.
Yeah.
But they screwed up big time.
Yeah. Did you see they took him off the injury report?
Really?
Yeah. They're like super doubling down. But yeah, I mean, there was a play in that Titans game. So super surprising result. Probably the most surprising result of the weekend by far. But there was a play, I think it was the fourth quarter, they're trying to come back, and he took the just craziest sack I think I've ever seen an NFL quarterback take, which was, the left tackle Orlando Brown.
Bad
basically, not good. But he's getting bulldozed, and Joe Burrow literally, instead of like even trying to step up in the pocket, just gets hit by Orlando Brown and just falls down.
He can't
move. I
move.
was like, and I had kind of been like sort of bullish on like okay, he's hurt. Like I thought that was okay. Yeah, he's probably he tweaked it, but he can still play football. But like he's hurt, man.
Yeah,
he cannot move in the pocket, and it's sort of a detriment to the team.
I agree. And
like,
coming out of the Ravens game, I was like, yeah, haha. Like he's
he
just playing hurt because they lost and they want to have more excuses. But then I watched the Rams game and it was like, dude, he can't move.
Yeah.
And they can't throw downfield because of it. He can't take the big drop and then step up into the throw.
Right.
So everything's super short. Now T. Higgins might miss this week with fractured ribs. It's just they put themselves in a horrible spot.
Yeah.
They're only 3-point favorites against Carolina or against Arizona, which is wild.
Yeah.
Probably gonna have to bet the Bengals, even though all of this I'm saying. But and Arizona's been feisty. But that's crazy. They just keep I think you're right. I think he is a detriment at this point.
Yeah.
And the locker room seems like it's falling apart too. Like Jamar Chase going to interviews saying, "I'm always open."
I'm always open.
Well, that's the other element too. Is Zach? Why am I want to say Zach Stacy? It's Zach Staley, right?
Yeah, Zach Stacy.
Zac Efron.
Yes, he was a running back that did some horrible things.
Yeah.
Like he just might not be a good play caller.
I don't think he is. I've been saying that for a year. I don't think he's back.
Well, they don't. The fans hate him.
Yeah.
They cannot stand him. But yeah, and their defense was all supposed to be good this year. Yeah. Wow, man, they're really pulling away with this thing.
Yeah, that's a wild pitch with the bases loaded.
Ouch. They've gotten one out this entire year. Wow. Yeah, but I don't know. It's crazy to see. They might actually lose this game.
That'd be wild. I mean, I wouldn't say done, but that'd be a really bad loss.
I think I would call them done. If they lose this week, they're done. They're 1-4, and then they still have to play the Chiefs, the Bills, and 5 more division games.
Yeah.
That'd be done.
I don't know. I guess I just saw it last year where they just rattled off 10 in a row, and it was not really hard for them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm never gonna just call them done, but it's been ugly, and that's I can't believe I'm gonna give credit to a Cleveland coaching staff over a Cincinnati, but that's the case. I think Cleveland did the right thing, and Cincinnati that's what I don't understand sometimes with guys. And Derek Carr did the same thing this week, right?
Yeah.
I can kind of like, oh, I'm cleared, I can play. It's like, well, dude, like you can't. You threw the ball 14 times to Alvin Kamara. He had 33 total yards like on through the air, which is wild. So it's like you're hurting your team so much more, and the coaches got to realize that,
Right.
You know, when these guys can't move around, they can't do the things that they need to do. It's just like you take a week off.
And they have a good backup quarterback in
all
all of our opinions.
That was super inexcusable because Jake Browning, it's like, okay, well, you're going to lose the game. You're like, now I do think if they put Jake Browning in, they're probably going to lose every game they play. But at the same time, I mean, you're right though. Credit to Cleveland for going with the guy that they had on the roster who they trust. You know,
and he was horrible,
and he was terrible. He was not good.
We'll be honest.
Sad.
I am. Speaking from experience on Mr. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he does this right. He had three great preseason games. He did the same thing at UCLA. It'd be 3 great games, and it'd be like every fourth game, it'd be like, what am I watching? And Ravens took advantage of it. Obviously, I'm not going to say like the Ravens did anything great, but the offense did look good against the Cleveland defense. Was top in the league coming in. But I think we'll learn more and more about the Ravens as we go. Obviously, go to Pittsburgh this week. Sweeping the road divisional games would be massive.
That would be crazy.
But we'll see. The Steelers tend to play Lamar. That fell in.
Sorry. What?
Wow.
Wowza.
This is wild.
We might not get any games tomorrow.
I wasn't ready for that.
Because Phillies are now up 2-0 early as well. It's 5-2 Diamondbacks, still with 1 out. Looks like they're going to go to their third pitcher of the 6th inning. Oh, my goodness.
Man. The Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. I liked them all year.
Yeah.
I thought I was rooting for them to make those
they could
playoffs.
beat the Dodgers.
Yeah, they could. They could.
Beat the Dodgers. Elsewhere, let's see. Jags get right over in London. They get to stay in London, which is interesting. Bills going over there. That should be a fun game. Bills, obviously, ever since week 1, look great.
Yeah.
You said the Falcons.
That game's bad.
Desmond Ritter's horrible.
Oh, my goodness.
They should play Heineke if they want to win.
Did you know they're plus money to not make the playoffs? That's how bad the NFC is.
Interesting.
Go and look it up in the futures. They're plus money to miss.
And they started good. What are they?
They're 2-2.
Yeah.
They play.
NFC
So
South is so bad.
the NFC South is so bad. That's what it is. Yeah.
We might take them eventually. In Survivor, there's going to be a time where we're going to take.
Well, here's the thing: they play decent defense. I mean, besides that pick 6, their defense did pretty good against Jacksonville, and they run the ball well.
Yes.
So as long
Bijan's awesome.
Yeah, Bijan's great,
awesome.
and Algier's good behind him too.
He had over 100 yards.
Yeah. They don't throw to their skill position players ever, which is annoying. But I think they will turn to Heineke. I think they might win against the Texans, lose another game, 2 games terribly, be 3-4. It's like, all right, you're done.
This is the first chance I've been able to actually fully watch a Falcons game, right? Kyle Pitts, he tripped like 3 times.
Did he?
Like, I'm starting to think he's just not that good.
There's a chance.
We talked about it, man. But if you're an NFL team, I don't care how good a tight end is, you cannot pick him that high.
Yeah,
that was a stupid thing to do. And and at the time, if you had said that, everyone would have been, "You're insane. This guy is he's going to be amazing." But
now you can't.
I just never agreed to that decision. I thought that was really risky. I mean, 3rd overall, that's crazy. And look at all the other people that went behind him in that draft. So, but yeah, man. I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand. And he's got such a good opportunity to do well. Like, he was one-on-one with a lot of guys.
Yeah. Ritter has to see guys open. He won't give their guys a chance. So.
Yeah.
Nope.
It was fun to watch on Toy Story, though. I mean,
that was actually kind of cool.
The beginning sucked.
Yeah.
Because we were just watching 2 guys talk about a game because of technical difficulties. But once they got it worked out, it was kind of fun.
I guess. I texted the group chat saying I'd absolutely watch a Toy Story stream. I turned it on and I'm like, this just looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I switched to the real stream, but
what's the word? Like a simulcast?
Simulcast?
Yeah, it looked like a simulcast.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I thought it was impressive.
It was.
It is.
They were able to do that.
Yeah,
that's wild.
especially when you see the side by sides.
Yeah,
side by sides.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. The Bills having to travel. I saw the Bills aren't traveling until Thursday.
What are they doing?
Wow.
Which the Ravens go to London after this week, and I've heard that the Ravens are flying on Monday. Like soon as
should. You know?
Yeah. So the Bills, I heard, are taking all of Friday to rest and like try to get their bodies on the right clock. Jags first half, Jags first quarter. The Bills might start slow. They've looked awesome since the Jets game, but Jags have been over there for a week now. I mean, they could have a shot to jump out to an early lead. I think it's crazy to fly on Thursday all the way over to London, but
Wow.
yeah,
I also think the Jags are bad, but
they could be, because without that pick six, that game's really close.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's going on with them. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. You mentioned the Texans. They're surprising too. Stroud looks really, really good.
Yeah, he does. And I'll take all the heat because I thought he was going to stink.
Yep.
I thought they were dumb for picking him because they had nothing around him. But not only has he looked good, but their weapons look really good too. I mean, Nico Collins looks legit. Yeah. And Tank Dell looks legit too. I thought Mechie was going to be the guy that would step up there, but no way.
It's just crazy how much they're already passing the ball. Like, you don't see that kind of trust in your quarterback this early in their career. Maybe it's because of their situation. Maybe it's because the expectations were so low. If it doesn't go well, at least he's getting the experience. Right. If it does go well, great. Like, it's going to show off that you made a great pick.
It's just crazy. Like, you talk about not having much around him, and their weapons do look better than we thought, but their offensive line is putrid. Like, that makes no sense.
They can't run the ball at all.
No.
I mean, and teams know that going in, but I just don't think they're ready for them to sling it like they do. Like, who's like
Damian Pierce is worth nothing,
dude. Yeah, I mean, he's not. They're now they're getting healthier this week. They should be better this week. But yeah, man. I mean, you can't do anything that well. You're not supposed to be able to do anything well if you can't run the football that well.
Yeah, and getting pressured all the time.
Right. But
I thought Steelers were just going to wreak havoc in the backfield.
And
they didn't at all.
Right. The final score of that game is a little misleading. The Texans pulled away in the fourth quarter. Yeah. But like going into the fourth, I think it was like 13-6, which is kind of what I expected more of. But you got to give credit to the Texans, man. Yeah. I mean, they're outperforming. They look like all of a sudden they look like they might be the best team in the AFC South. Like
we'll see.
I don't know. I kind of like they can throw the ball. Can any other team do that really well?
I like Anthony Richardson, but that's more his style of play. Not necessarily he's not a great thrower yet.
Yeah,
but he's able to move the ball.
They're gonna run the ball, though. Yeah, that's their thing. Like CJ Stroud in a 2-minute drill. Like that's pretty. I trust him to get points at the end of a half. You know. Yeah. So I don't know. That's gonna be a fun division.
I think anyone can win it.
Yeah, for sure. That division is probably all of a sudden the most fun in football. Like what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, both those rookie quarterbacks look great. Anthony Richardson obviously made the big comeback, which sometimes it's easier to play quarterback making a comeback, but they got it all the way back to tie the game.
Yeah, overtime.
And got it to overtime. Puka Nacua was just too much for them at the end of the day. That guy's awesome.
That guy's really good.
But yeah, Colts opened up Jonathan Taylor's practice window, so they might get him back, which would suck for my fantasy team. Because I don't have anybody else besides Zach Moss to play running back.
Oh, no.
But that's another story.
You had somebody. I
have like Jerick McKinnon.
That's right. I think I preferred McKinnon over Zach Moss. They might ease Taylor back in.
I might get one more week of Zach Moss.
They also might trade him still.
That'd be great.
They should.
Well, they could win the NFC South. I don't know.
That's true.
Maybe he's only coming back because they've looked good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Both those guys look good. Anthony Richardson's a ton of fun to watch. I mean, he does. Yeah. He does fun things on the football field, no matter where he is or what's going on. So, yes, I'll go over to the Chargers, which I mentioned earlier. They tried to give that game away again. They got lucky. Aiden O'Connell threw a pick at the goal line. The Raiders should have went for 2 when they cut it from 14 to 1 touchdown, if you ask me. But I guess it didn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
what was the other thing they should have done? There was another one, the field goal or something. Was that them?
That was last week. Yes. Against the Steelers when they were down 6 or something.
Yeah.
And then they kicked a field goal from the 8 or something to that effect. I can't totally remember.
Down 10, maybe.
I know it was one possession. It went from a 1 possession game to a 1 possession game.
Okay,
that's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah, that was McDaniels just cannot be the coach. He's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like I did mention, the Bills have looked really good, but Dolphins take a step back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We probably should have expected that.
Yeah.
But I still like them.
Yeah.
I just think the Bills were on. The Bills were just on. They were on the entire game. And sometimes that happens, you know? Like, I remember last year, the Chiefs played the 49ers, and they did the same thing to the 49ers. Mm-hmm. They were just on. They completely crapped on the 49ers. And it doesn't move the needle about both teams for me. You know, I know it was in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So that probably helped them a little bit, but I still think them, like...
We'll see next time. How about that?
Right, next time. Right, exactly.
I agree. I think it limits my expectations a little bit for Miami just because their secondary is pretty bad. I know they'll get Jalen Ramsey eventually, but the secondary right now is very bad.
Right.
And when you limit sort of the things they like to do with Tua's a lot better when he's able to just kind of catch the ball and throw, like make his first read and go. Right. You can kind of take some of that stuff away. It limits their offense a little bit, but definitely they're still really good. Like I'm not like you're saying, I'm not totally discounting them. So no issue. The Bills they looked like that game was going to be like LSU Ole Miss for a minute, but then the Bills defense stepped up a bit. Which good for the Bills. It's fun to have them sort of back in the title contender.
Yeah, look, we're all rooting for the Bills. Okay, it's just they're the Bills. Like I'd prefer them over like the Chiefs.
That's true.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, with the Bills, it doesn't matter what they do in the regular season.
Exactly.
Yeah. None of this matters.
Unfortunately, that's the case.
Yeah,
for a couple different teams.
Yeah,
none of this. Just got to get to the playoffs, and we'll see from there. But quick check. We need one more out. Is it 16.5?
I have 17.
I didn't take it.
Okay. I think I need one more out by Zach Gallen.
Him doing that lead off walk was killer.
He's got like 93 pitches.
I was going to say 83 or 93.
Yeah.
I might just let him go, right?
Well, they do have a big lead, but if he walks or this guy gets on, then the tying runs at the plate, you don't really
2 strikes.
That. 2 strikes, kind of got to get him.
Got him first.
Got to get him.
Double play potential. Let's
Come
get
on.
a double play.
Yeah, just
a double play.
Because I don't really remember the number I have, so let's get a double play. I think it's 16.5.
Easy money.
We'll move on. Let's talk tomorrow night briefly because the game sucks.
Game distinct.
I think it might be fun, but Commanders Bears.
All I know is we're hot.
We're hot.
That's
baby.
all.
Let's
I know.
go. Back to back, 3-0 weeks. Parlay cashes yet again.
Yes, it does.
With the boost. With the boost. Throw the
boost.
boost on there. It's always a good time.
Yeah, you're up like if you're telling us you're up like 10 units or something.
Yeah.
9-10 units.
I was the one sweating out my leg this week for sure. I don't. What was it?
Josh Reynolds?
Yes.
Reception.
Because the Lions were up by a lot, and I was like, man, did they stop throwing for the game? But he made a nice diving catch down the field. That was huge. What do you got for best bets this week?
All right, so I'm leading off with Khalil Herbert over 11.5 receiving yards.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting.
Strike 3.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
It is?
Yes.
I think so. He stays. He's staying on. They're going to let him finish the inning.
Yeah, he only got 3 strikeouts, though.
97. Yeah, it's here.
Oh. All right, so that one's dead. But that's okay. I still have some outs recorded. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So last week he saw season high 78% of the snaps.
Really?
Think about it, though. They're also up. So maybe it's more because he's just, the every down back, the running back. They're probably running more plays than them. Either way, his recent history, he's had 4 catches for 19 yards, 2 for 4, 1 for 23, and 3 for 37. So what that shows me is they're running plays with them.
Sure.
Like I don't think those are just dump offs.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. 11.5 is not hard to get. The other option was 1.5 receptions.
Yeah.
But that was juiced. That was minus 190.
Okay. I like it. I was interested when you had the snap count because it seemed like Roshan was like eating into it every week. So it's interesting to hear that he played 78%.
I like that number as long as he gets 50%, honestly.
Yeah. And if they're 6-point dogs, so you think they should be passing a little bit.
Yes.
So. Yeah. I don't mind that. For me, I'm going to go McLaurin over 59.5 receiving yards. Mm-hmm. The Bears are missing like 4 guys in their secondary from an already bad secondary, so I can't even imagine what they're going to be bringing in. Like I like Jaquan Brisker. He's out tomorrow. So the Commanders should eat, especially down the field. I looked at some other guys, but I just like McLaurin gets his every week, even when they were like in positive game scripts and negative game scripts. He was getting 6 to 8 targets a game. Hal likes him a ton. He catches 1 ball for like 25 yards. In this game, he should get there pretty easily. So
I like it.
Yeah. So for me, I was going to recruit you two to help me select because I like a lot. Yes, he got it. Zach Gallen. Because I like a lot of plays. I hate to go back to the well, but Sam Howell, 32.5 pass attempts sounds awesome. Howell's done that in 2 out of 4 games, and this is by far the worst secondary he's played. I actually think the Bears are going to keep this game close. I don't think that the Commanders cover. I actually think the Bears will cover. But
I'm just worried they don't.
But if this is a blowout, that would suck.
I think because the reason I don't think that I think it will be a close game is what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Is the Commies don't have a good defense either. The Commies have a terrible.
It's been bad, which is
secondary.
interesting. Yeah.
And so my other play is Justin Fields over yards. He's gotten his line is 189
passing. You're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
189. He's gotten that 3 out of 4 games, and the Commanders are bottom 5 in pass defense across the board. They might have the worst corners, second to Chicago. Might have the worst corners in the league.
Yeah, Emmanuel Forbes is one of their starting corners. They just drafted him, so super young.
Mm-hmm.
He got torched by O.J. Brown this week.
Yeah, like Justin Fields 200 plus, which he's done in 3 out of 4 games, is plus 120. You know, and I just don't think the Commanders are very good, and so
they're going to keep letting him throw because they have
right.
Most of the world has said they should move on, but they still got a whole season to evaluate. Mm-hmm. So
I like that one.
I think I like that one more too.
You like that more? Okay, so hold on. Let me rewind.
Okay.
The Bears are actually a respectable run defense. They allow 3.8 yards per carry, which is like a top 10 mark in the NFL.
Okay.
So I think, and the Commies don't really run the ball all that well. So I figured if they're gonna win, they're gonna have to throw the ball. So Sam Howell, I don't like his yards are.
I thought you had another pick.
No.
Sorry.
Sam Howell, his yards are 234. You know, the Bears allow 249.5.
I get it.
And that's the thing. I liked Terry McLaurin. I almost picked that one. Jahan Dotson. Yeah. I like him. I like Logan Thomas. I like a ton of them. I like DJ Moore receptions. His reception line is 3.5.
I saw that too. That was a potential for me as well.
Yeah. Wait, who's?
So
DJ Moore
is what?
3.5.
Oh yeah. Okay. I think it's 2.5.
So
that's Darnell Mooney.
Right now, and with Howell going back to the pass attempts, he got his first game. He got 29 against. He got 29 against Buffalo, which was a really good defense. They just got completely stonewalled. He got 32 against Arizona, and then he got 44 last week, and then he got 39 against the Broncos. And so now he's playing the worst defense he's played.
Yeah, but both those games he was coming from behind. Is my only concern. Is it like if this game is 20-0 at halftime?
Yes,
I'm not that surprised.
It's true.
That's my only concern.
The same.
My favorite of all of those that I mentioned, I think it's Fields' yards.
I agree.
Yeah. It's super gross because he threw 99 against Kansas City.
That's
99.
Fine. It happens. Yeah, not really, but
200 against this defense, he should be able to.
189.5, whatever.
189.5. Yeah. That's right.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
So Khalil Herbert over 11.5 receiving yards, Terry McLaurin over 59.5 receiving yards, and Justin Fields over 189.5 yards passing. Book it. Hopefully Fields doesn't run for a 70-yard touchdown, but book it. Take it to the bank. 3-0 again. Here we go. Let's jump to Survivor real quick. We stayed alive again last week. We went with the obvious Niners, which
we got burned. Let's be honest, we got burned.
It had the best play, obviously, look in hindsight would have been the Broncos, but that would have been really annoying for 2.5 hours until they came back to win. But look, it's all about surviving and advancing. Kind of wish we would have taken the Jags this past week, but
true.
But this week it's tough. There's a ton of games that are just under a 2-point spread.
Yeah.
The only ones you could do Commanders, but we don't have them. So I'll just mention you could do the Commanders if you believe in them.
Yeah.
It's probably the last time you'll really
give us
trust
the
them.
Bears. We will love a Bears
win.
Like
the Bears.
Yeah. The big ones would be the Lions over the Panthers, and then the Dolphins over the Giants, which we mentioned the Giants looked awful. They've got to look better at some point, but I think the Dolphins probably handle them.
Yeah.
And the other one is Ravens, but road divisional game I don't trust. Steelers have played Lamar pretty well in the past, so
and there's better spots, right?
Not many, but they do get the
Ravens,
Cardinals in a couple weeks.
The Ravens have the Cardinals, but that doesn't look like a layup. And
I
think it's in Arizona.
They get Tennessee in London, which isn't amazing.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do. We didn't talk about them too much, but I don't want to do anything with Tennessee.
They're just super confusing.
Yeah,
you can't. Who knows?
Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, again, probably 3 games are getting all the action this week. Maybe some people take the Bills.
No thanks.
I won't take them.
I don't think I'm straying off the path this week either.
Yeah, I think for me, I like the Dolphins. Gun to my head. I think the Lions are more likely to lose, but I mean,
I think they're very similar. Those two.
Yeah.
I guess where I would lean when we're deciding something like this is just the road. So who has the better matchups down the road?
I would imagine the Lions because they would get the
Yes.
Bears again.
Mm-hmm. The Lions get the Bears twice.
Get to still have the Bears twice. Yeah.
And the Dolphins, we talked about this in our group chat, but the Dolphins, if you don't use them in the next couple weeks,
It's like
you're
13
you're not going to use them.
or 16 or something
Yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
Like where Survivor's over. It's
Right,
almost always
exactly.
over.
Yes. So it's like
I'm
this
cool-
week.
I think I agree.
Yeah, I think you just go Dolphins.
I think
I think
Dolphins.
Lions will be more available down the stretch. And I talked about the Dolphins. Maybe their offense in the winter isn't quite as
True, too.
good.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that was the one.
Oh, the Eagles. We forgot about the Eagles. I don't mind them. This week.
Same situation.
Yeah. And the
Wait, who do they have
Publix,
this week?
They get the Rams.
But they get the
but they go to LA.
They go to
and
the
they
Rams.
haven't looked great.
They
and
have
who they
not
get next
looked
week?
great.
I like their matchup next week. I think that's what
The
it was.
Eagles?
Do they have the Jets?
I don't know.
The thing with the Eagles that's nice is you're fading the public this week.
I need to see it from them
Yeah.
before I trust them flying across the country.
And I like the Rams.
yeah, like I
Do
don't.
you? I think they're. I'm not buying it.
What if
Honestly,
Cup plays? Cup could be back. I don't think he is, but he could
I
be.
think he might be like
Dust.
done.
yeah.
Tough to say.
The Jets. They're at the Jets next week,
Back-to-back road games.
and then they're like basically unusable. Which is what's attractive about the Eagles.
That's not a bad road game, at least. The
Yeah.
Jets.
You're not going to use them till Christmas, where they get the Giants at home.
That's a good wild card to have, though.
It's true,
That
too.
would- yeah, that's also true.
I think. I think you just got to be Dolphins.
I think it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Man, that stinks. But I just feel like a lot of people are going to have them. No, I don't see that many people getting eliminated. The cute people get eliminated.
Yeah, we're kind of getting to the point, right, where we're just gonna have to make good picks when
Yeah.
it comes down to those 2 3-point spreads.
Yeah.
No one's got the big dogs.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to come play.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
I don't hate the Ravens. I really don't.
I do.
I do.
You do.
The Steelers have played Lamar so well.
It's just their offense is so putrid.
Oh, it's
our,
horrible.
And our defense comes to play.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an ugly.
The
game.
public loves Pittsburgh this week. I think all the money's going to go on Pittsburgh.
I think that, but you got to look at like I talked about the Ravens flying on Monday to London. They got families like that's in the back of their mind. Like I hate to
Yeah.
like say that because obviously we want the Ravens to win, but
Yeah.
Going to Pittsburgh is never an easy task. Coming
It's
off
true.
a Cleveland game is never easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just back-to-back road games plus then you got an international flight the next day.
It's also a terrible time to play Pittsburgh because they're going to get hyped for this game.
Yeah.
Because they've looked like crap.
Exactly.
And they're going to bounce back.
Yeah.
Is the international game gonna be the same time?
Yeah.
Like it's like a 9.
9:30.
That's awesome. I'm very happy that it's a Ravens game because
yeah.
I always talk about the issue of not being able to watch other games
Yeah.
or easily.
Yeah.
So
You can't pay as much attention. So, yeah, I think I think the Ravens win, but like I don't trust them for
Yeah.
Survivor here.
That's fair.
The name of the game is Survivor. So you survive until week 9 or 10, and then you just like Andrew said,
and then we get ugly.
you got to make the right picks. But that's you got to get there first. So
Yeah.
I understand. You got to look at future value, but that's why I think it's Dolphins over Lions because
Yes.
the Lions should have much easier matchups down the stretch. So
Yeah.
I think that's it. Any other NFL topic you want to bring up?
I do not think so. I was thinking of doing a thing where we call it the put a fork in them, where I go over the teams that are done.
Go for it.
Go
We
ahead.
can say if we are putting a fork. Okay, so the Bears
Done.
putting a fork in.
Absolutely.
We putting a fork in the Panthers.
Yes.
Yes.
Putting a fork in them.
Yes, sir.
Are we putting a fork in the Bengals?
No.
We're putting a fork in the Cardinals.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though they're feisty.
They are feisty. I know it's kind of
The fork. I put the fork in them in the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
I'm pulling it out a little bit.
really? Yeah, dude.
Just a little.
They're feisty. Don't
They've
get me
been
wrong.
really the Raiders. Are you putting a fork in the Raiders?
Sadly, I think.
I think the Raider. Or I'll let Ben finish. Well, you want me to say this? How about I say this, and maybe this will affect your
Go
pick.
ahead.
I think the Raiders are the worst team in the AFC.
So they might be.
I think they're the worst.
They might be.
What's their record?
They're 1-3. They get the Packers this
Then-
week. And again, they're almost assuredly going to lose.
Then no.
Should we use the Packers?
I don't.
I
Want
don't hate the Packers. I do not. It's in
Jordan Love
Vegas.
looked horrible.
Yes, he's not good.
The thing is, the Raiders have all those playmakers.
They have talent, right? But they did last year.
Yeah, but I'm saying like any week those playmakers could show up.
I'm not doing it.
You're not forking them.
Nope.
I will.
But do you think there's a chance they make the playoffs? That's kind of like the fork.
Yes, since
mentality.
what we talked about earlier. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Because we
So
talked,
no.
there's going to be a few fringe spots. When you get 4 losses, though, if you have 4 losses week 2,
Yeah, they lose this week. They're done.
Yeah.
But gotta be.
The Jets. Putting a fork in them?
no.
You don't think so?
I have hope.
I'm putting a fork in the Jets.
My fork is in there unless quarterback change, because I still think Zach Wilson's not the guy.
If they were like 2-2, I'd be like, okay. But they're 1-4, and now they get the Broncos, who I don't think they're going to beat. Who I also think, the Broncos, we putting a fork in them.
Yes. Well, yes.
I like their offense. I do like their offense. I'm not going to lie.
No.
Wilson's been okay.
He
He's been the
has. I
best
hear ya.
part of that team.
Yeah.
No?
No.
Okay. I think
Not
that's
yet.
it.
Okay.
I don't think there's anybody else. The Bear, we said that. Okay, that's it. I'm out.
You know what? We're going to do it. Next week, let's fill this with, like, the football helmets
Oh.
and have forks in them.
I like it.
We got darts. We can throw darts out.
Oh.
That'd be cool.
All right. Look forward to that next week. We will catch you all later. Enjoy playoff baseball. October is the best time of the year for the sports month, for the sports calendar, for my money. Enjoy it while it's here. We'll talk to you next week.